So, here are my thoughts on the week 17 Sunday afternoon games. The early window and the late window. Let's talk about 6 games in the early window first. So the Philadelphia Eagles clinched the number 2 seed with a win over the Dallas Cowboys. The Philadelphia Eagles are 13-3 now, and then they have the tiebreaker. Yeah, Detroit has tiebreaker with Philadelphia. Minnesota, if they win, they'll be 15-2. So they'll clinch. And even if there's a tie, Minnesota would have it, or Detroit would have it over Philadelphia. So, but it was the first quarter. It was pretty soft. They forced Dallas into a bunch of field goals and some turnovers. Cooper Rush, they forced them into 2 interceptions, 146 yards, 15-28. And Barkley got 31 for 167 yards rushing, and they're still trying for the rushing. Although the rushing record was on 16 games, not 17, so it's not but the more you have 17-game seasons, the more your records are gonna be broken. Eventually after a while there'll be 17 games, so people it all is gonna happen like that. But Dowell has 23 kick runs, 100 points. Smith had 6 catches, 122 touchdowns. So pretty solid game. Team McKee winning in the third quarter though, after Kenny Pickett went out with rib injury. So yeah, nice win for Philadelphia over Dallas, and when they didn't have to have it, but it would be a night when they should have. Yeah, they should get, and that gives Philadelphia the NFC East with the win over Dallas. Guys, Washington cannot catch up to them. We have Tampa Bay. They blew out Carolina 48-14. That was a must-win game for Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has to have this game in order to win the NFC South. If they have to win this one and hope that Atlanta loses one. Tampa Bay, they had a blowout in Rice Young 15-8, 2 touchdowns. They just couldn't get nothing on in the running game. And Baker Mayfield had 5 incompletions, 27-32. 100 yards, 5 touchdowns, 5 passes that were not caught by a receiver. 20 runs for 130 yards for Urban. Thielen had 5 catches for 132 touchdowns. Evans had 8 catches for 97 yards and 2 touchdowns. So the Tampa Bay did a really solid game. It was just a blowout game. But they did exactly what Tampa Bay did exactly what they had to do. Just prove that they're worthy of the playoffs and get a win over. And they just have to hope Atlanta loses one of their next 2 games, but loses either Washington Sunday Football, which is more likely to happen than losing in their Week 18 matchup, which is Week 18. The Saints and Buccaneers, and that's Carolina, Atlanta, which Carolina. It's more likely that they lose to Washington than it is to Carolina. We have the Bills. They clinch the number 2 seed in the AFCs. And the AFC, or make this team of the AFCs and the 2 seed. Well, they already clinched the AFC seed a few weeks back, but they clinched the 2 seed with the win. And that's a big win. Big dominant blowout win. And that's what they had to have. And when in the fourth quarter that Tyrod Taylor came in, and Rodgers just either requested to go or something because there's 40 yards. And Mitch Trubisky in the backup was playing for fourth quarter. For the backups were playing. And man, that was huge game, big blow win for Buffalo. And Buffalo was just dominant all over. Just dominant, forcing Rodgers into Rodgers and the Jets offense couldn't get nothing going passing. And off rushing, they just couldn't get nothing going. When you had like fumbles and you had safeties and just couldn't get nothing going. A lot of sacks too. The Bills proved why they're dominant, and they got the number 2 seed locked up, which is what they wanted. The Indianapolis Colts, they were looking for a win today to stay alive in the AFC playoff race. However, now the race, as of now, is cut down to 2 teams, but it might be cut down to 1 if Miami lost. Maybe cut to 1 if Miami lost to Cleveland in my Jets. All teams played pretty solid. It was just that, on a few drives, the my Jets had field goals, had touchdowns, and inners and stuff like that. And there was a kick return for a touchdown. You had and you just had a couple fumbles. You had some fumbles and some turnovers, and then 2 interceptions. That's what really hurt the Indianapolis Colts offense with Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco played 17-23, 304 touchdowns, played a career game. Taylor had 32 runs, but 223 touchdowns like he probably normally would. D. Tracy Jr. had 20 runs for 50 yards. So Neighbors had 7 for 172 touchdowns. His career day, but Drew Lock played just phenomenal. Joe Flacco just had the 2 interceptions. That's his problem with the Colts. He's had interceptions. I mean, Richardson has, but Richardson's more able to be in the running game as well, more than Flacco was. So that's what really kind of gives the Colts that running threat. Gives him that, And you got the Las Vegas Raiders. They get a win over the New Orleans Saints. The Saints with Spencer Rattler. There you see right there. Have not looked that great. I mean, even against the team that made their caliber. Spencer Rattler had 2 interceptions that game for 23 yards. Ian O'Connell had 2 touchdowns, 200 yards, 23 for pass. Not the most efficient game, but played solid. Though did what they had to do to win, and there's a lot of field goals, 4 field goals. Maybe 1 or 2 of them should have been converted touchdowns. Better than really well, but they played well. Did what they had to do to win, and they got 2 wins in a row. Win against Jacksonville and a win against New Orleans. It's a struggling New Orleans team without their star players. So it's a nice win for Las Vegas. Give themselves momentum for next year. I mean, they would rather probably have the picks. But, I mean, you're not going to get that from the players, though, and the coaches. They're going to try to win games. They're not trying for the number 1 pick, though. You got Jacksonville with a win over Tennessee as a team with the backups like you got Mason Rudolph and instead of Mason Rudolph and then you got Mac Jones instead of Trevor Lawrence. They were struggling. They weren't playing as perfect with Trevor Lawrence, but Mac Jones did give him a win over a struggling Tennessee team. Both teams got. But Jacksonville was pretty dominant. The first dominant was showing their first quarter, but then the third, a little bit Tennessee got back into it a little bit, but then fourth quarter, the Jacksonville defense played well and stopped them and scored a touchdown. But Rudolph was 19th round, 183 yards, a touchdown reception. Jones was 15-22, 174 yards, 2 touchdowns. So played really solid. Played solid enough to win the game. That's what you can ask for. The Miami Dolphins, they do keep their hopes alive for a playoff spot. 20-3, Miami beats Cleveland. Miami had 2, it was 6-3 halftime. Then 2 touchdowns by Tyler Huntley. Tua Tagovailoa was out for this game, and they brought their back up. It didn't matter. Miami 20-3 over Cleveland, and you had Tyler Huntley just had a 13-yard touchdown, and John Smith had a 7-yard touchdown pass from Tyler Huntley, and they stay alive there if Denver, but for Miami to get in the playoffs. Denver will have to lose to Kansas City, who is most likely resting their key starters in Week 18. They're gonna rest like their wide receivers, their running back. They might use the running back, but only as like they might have like the second string, third string play, and be like the number one, be like their third running back, the quarterback. Like Patrick Mahomes, he might only play if the backup goes down. No, he might be the backup for just convert to backup for that game probably. I mean, you may have the offense, you may have some backup offense linemen and then already, but some of the offense linemen, they might play. Some of the backups might play in, but I mean, they might not though. I mean, so but Hill had 9 just 105 yards. Thompson Robinson 24-47 Hurts interception. That's really hurt them. They were just relying too much on the passing game. It was just not working for them. But they couldn't, and they just got nothing on the running game. Put 13 runs for 4 units. They just didn't run really enough, and they weren't getting nothing. And they had to go back to the passing late in the game, and it didn't work. Huntley 22-26, 25 yards of touchdown. Pretty solid game for Miami, so it keeps them alive. But they do need a loss. They do need Denver to lose to Kansas City in Week 18. Denver does that, and then Miami will clinch it. But Cincinnati has a chance too, but they have to have Denver and Miami both lose because Miami is ahead of Cincinnati. And then we got the final game in Week 17, the Sunday afternoon games. We have the Minnesota Vikings get a big win. They were just dominant this game. 27-25 over Green Bay. I mean, the score doesn't look like it, but Minnesota was just all over Green Bay. That was the game most people saw, unless they're watching the Miami or Cleveland game, if they're a Miami or Cleveland fan. You know? That was about everyone else watching this game. Now you can see why, because this was like a dominant game. Sam Darnold just proved that he is like an outstanding quarterback, and he showed it. Like people were like, "Oh, Sam Darnold's not that great," like the Vikings, but they proved it on Monday night against the Bears when they played Monday night against the Bears. They proved it against in the national game, in the window game against Atlanta and not split national, but or Arizona. That was the national game. The national window game for Fox. They proved it against, Monday night against Chicago. Proved it in this America's Game Week in almost like 95% of the NFL fans. Probably like 95%. I would say probably like 95% of them were watching this game. They're watching the afternoon games, and you can see it why. This was a solid game. Minnesota just dominated all from the start. But however, Will Riker did miss a couple of field goals. He missed a 57-yarder and he missed a 42-yarder. And he usually doesn't miss kicks unless he's actually injured. The 2 kicks he was injured. But he wasn't. He just missed a couple kicks. And that's kind of surprising, but in the third quarter, did pretty well. Sam threw a 31-yard pass, wide open pass to Jalen Naylor, an 18-yard pass to Jordan Addison, a 9-yard touchdown pass to Cam Akers. And then the fourth quarter, it was the third until like the final, final 8 minutes of that game, 9 minutes of that game. Minnesota or Green Bay did not look that great. Green Bay got exposed that game. They just weren't able to get like any passing on game one. Really, Jordan Love was 10-18 or 10 of 18 for like 64 yards, and he was not looking that great. But he did have only 19 yards of touchdown. Sam Darnold for 337 yards, 33-43, 3 touchdowns. He did have no interception, but still like really solid. Josh Jacobs had 17 runs, 60 yards of touchdown. 20 for 47 yards for Aaron Jones, 12 runs for 47 yards. Jefferson 8 catches for 96 yards, and Dobbs had 7 for 50 yards. Because Green Bay did not look that impressive, They just had Christian Watson out, their starter running their star wide receiver. They had their cornerback, one of their good cornerbacks, Jair Alexander. He was on, so that made a play difference, but still, were not playing that great. They kind of got exposed on defense, on offense. They just weren't playing that so great, and they got some sacks, some pressure. Key times Minnesota did the blitz, and it paid off for them. So Minnesota now sets up a game, Week 18, nationally televised game for the run seed. Winner plays. Winner gets the bye in the run seed. Minnesota Detroit. That's gonna be Sunday football because Detroit plays on Minnesota. Detroit plays on Monday night against San Francisco, so they're play Sunday night. Then they won't play the Saturday games because Saturdays might be like, oh, if this team wins, the team that's like Tampa Bay wins, and Atlanta clinches the playoffs. If Tampa Bay wins, then if Atlanta wins, then Atlanta, has to put some pressure on them, So neither team rests or stirs. And both have meaningful games, within a week. They might do something like that, or they might do like if Atlanta beats Washington and Detroit beats San Francisco, then they may have Seattle and LA Rams. They fight for the winner. If the winner gets like the number of the division, then they'll just play that. If there's still other tiebreakers involved, for that to happen, so we'll see. But yeah, that is it. So they just got exposed in that game. But they look pretty solid though, Minnesota did. But just in the defense looked pretty solid, but just some key penalties in Minnesota helping a little bit here and there. But same with Green Bay. But Minnesota, and just Green Bay didn't look dominant until the final, like half of the fourth quarter. And they can't do that. They can't just say, "Oh, we're gonna play like in the fourth quarter finally look good." They gotta start strong, have good starts, and then when they have good starts, turn them into like good starts into good starts, and do some like momentum for them. They just can't eventually gain momentum like late in that game when like the defense might be playing softer or keep the clock running or not give up a huge play, or they finally find the momentum late in that game because they absolutely have it. No, so Minnesota, Detroit will host Minnesota for the final game of the regular season, and that will be Sunday Night Football. It will be the final game of the regular season for those two teams, but it might be the final regular season game in the whole NFL. I would not be surprised if that is the case. I would be shocked if it wasn't. But I'm curious to see who gets the Week 18 Saturday national games. So I'm curious to see the times for the 4:25 Eastern window. Who gets them? If they do where all the playoff teams play at 4:25 Eastern, or if it's 1 Eastern where they do the AFC and then the AFC at one time and the NFC at one time. I'm interested to see if that's the case.